Hey guys, welcome back. I just did my thoughts on video on Xbox Game Pass, and I thought, I already been subscribed to PlayStation Now for a couple months, actually like only two months or 2 or 3 months maybe. But I decided, to make a PlayStation Now video based on my experience so far with the service, and I think my impressions, overall impressions, are very positive. Even though I haven't really experienced the service for that long, I think I came into the PlayStation Now service with a good timing, because I think the service has improved considerably ever since its conception, and it's a worthy digital service looking into. Once again, I understand most of the people that I interact here on YouTube, we're all very proud of our physical game collection. But I'd say stick around and just listen to the video, and you may find that PlayStation Now has actually a pretty good value, in my opinion, for the type of service that it provides. Again, I'm slowly transitioning into digital games, or not transitioning, but I'm leaning towards more digital, just because of its convenience and the fact, real estate. I'm running out of room here, even though it may look like I have a lot of room here. I already have hundreds of physical games. So one thing that really I'm impressed about PlayStation Now is that it has over 800 games, so that's a pretty good selection. But before we delve into the PlayStation Now types of games and experience, I'm gonna go really quick over the pricing. The pricing, they have different plans. I think it's like $9 a month, I want to say. I'm not really sure what the price schemes are, except for one option, which is the one that I went with, which is the yearly subscription. So for 12 months, you pay like $60, and that comes to be $5 a month, which is, in my opinion, that's not even lunch lunch money. In my opinion, it's well worth it. Even though the PlayStation Now service has a lot of the deficiencies, in my opinion, especially when compared to its competitors, Xbox, at Game Pass, Google Stadia, if you will, or GeForce Now, which is a streaming service. And the reason I'm saying this is because PlayStation Now, it's both it's mostly a streaming service, but it also allows you to download games, which is a new feature that PlayStation copied off Game Pass in a good way. To me, that's a welcome addition, the fact that you can download games, with a few caveats, obviously. So let's go. Let's break it down a little bit. So it's $60 a year for the yearly subscription. That's, in my opinion, very well worth it. And you have access to a lot of PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, and PSN types of games. Now, unfortunately, here's where Xbox Game Pass kind of like shines over PlayStation Now, is that PlayStation Now doesn't really have newer titles or new releases. The first party new releases, PlayStation, they basically just are telling you have to go out and buy those games. To me, that's okay. Again, you're paying less. It's a third of the cost of Game Pass, which is like $15 for the Ultimate service, and PlayStation Now, it's $5. So you get what you pay for in a way. But I do have to point out in a big way that this latest month, the games that were released during the month of March of 2020 for PlayStation Now include some pretty quote-unquote AAA newer titles. They're not brand new games, but they're, in my opinion, and everyone agrees. I went to the subreddit or Reset Era forums, and everyone agrees that this is by far the best new games month for PlayStation Now. So they introduced Control, which is a 2019 release. Again, it's not a release date type of release like Game Pass did with Outer Worlds, but the game is only a couple months old, and I think it's one of those AAA games that a lot of reviews, a lot of good impressions. So I'm definitely looking forward to playing Control, and I'm so glad I didn't buy the game, because now I can get to play it quote unquote for free. It's obviously it's part of a subscription. But I'm definitely looking forward to playing Control. And they also released Shadow of the Tomb Raider and Wolfenstein 2. Now, those are 2018. I think Wolfenstein might have been a 2017 game. Again, they're older titles, but they're AAA and they're highly praised games. So as long as they keep the AAA games coming in, I think we'll be in for a good time, in my opinion. Now, the cool thing about PlayStation Now is that it offers also both PC and console availability. For the PC, it's a very limited service in the sense that you can only stream games, and that kind of makes sense. You know, your computer, the processor itself is not a. It'll have to be basically a PlayStation 4 emulator to be able to run downloaded games. So obviously you can only stream the games. Now, unfortunately, the streaming quality is not the best, especially for PlayStation 4 games. Like, I feel like the more technical, the more graphics intensive the games are, the worse the quality of the streaming is. So what I do is I use PlayStation Now on the PC to stream like some older PlayStation 3 games. I recently did a video or an impressions video on Sonic the Fighters, for example, which was a 1996 arcade game by Sega, you know, starring Sonic the Hedgehog. Those type of games are more than perfect to stream on your PC. I also played a little bit of Sonic 4 episode 1 on the PC. So those types of games are a little bit more I guess appropriate, if you will. Now, and the selection obviously is not the same as the console. That's where PlayStation Now truly shines, when you have PlayStation Now on your PlayStation 4 console. But with that being said, I think it's a nice addition to have a PlayStation Now available for PC people, and you can enjoy some of the exclusive games, like, you know, like the God of Wars games and such. So if you're a PC gamer only and you kind of want to have that taste of Sony exclusives, like, you know, like the Heavy Rain games, the God of War and whatnot, you don't have to buy a PlayStation 4 necessarily. So that's a really cool option. Again, unfortunately, the service is a little bit, the streaming is not the best, the quality is not the best, unfortunately, and the app itself, or the software for the PC, unfortunately, is very buggy. Like, for example, I want to say like 3 out of 5 times when I use the PlayStation Now application on my Windows laptop, I have to re-log in. And it's a little bit annoying because you have to put your email, your password, and I have two-way factor authentication, or whatever it's called. So when I click log in, I have to check my phone, put the security code on the computer, and then I can access PlayStation Now. And then when I'm done with the game, I close the program out and I want to open it back again, I have to put my username, my password, and it's a very common glitch that a lot of people experience. And from what I understand, Sony, they have not updated the PC app for months, and that's a little bit discouraging. And you can tell the interface is a little bit old, it's a little bit sluggish. So in a way, they're kind of like just putting that aside, and there's a lack of overall maintenance and I guess interest from Sony's behalf to keep the PC crowd happy, which is a little bit of a shame, and in my opinion needs to be addressed. Now, if we're looking at on the PlayStation 4 side, things work a little bit better, but it's not a perfect experience. For example, the other day I was very excited when Control was announced. I'm not gonna play the game right away, but you know, I got excited and I was like, I'm gonna download it already on my system, on my PS4, so it's ready there whenever I want to play it. And sure enough, I went to download the game, and there was a glitch where it wouldn't let me download the game. It would kind of like take me to the subscription interface, and sure enough, I went on the internet, and it's a common glitch. So I had to renew or reactivate all my licenses on the PlayStation 4, and then I had to sign out and sign in. And by doing that, I had to put my username, my password, get the text message for the security, put it on my PS4 with no keyboard, so you have to, you know, with the controller, you know, takes longer. So a little bit of an inconvenience due to a glitched type of application or service, which you can tell there's a lack of polish, unfortunately, by using PlayStation Now, which is a little bit unfortunate. But again, you kind of get what you pay for. But I do hope that Sony steps up their game, because from what I understand, PlayStation Now is not a very popular service, not in the same level as Game Pass, and rightfully so. You know, Game Pass, I think it's a way more polished experience and a way more user-friendly, a way more just a shiny experience, you know, giving you newer games, first-party releases on day one and things like that. So there's a lot of room of for improvement for PlayStation Now. But again, despite all those nuisances, I'm still happy with the service. It's only $5 a month, and I do like the fact that Sony converted the service from being streaming only to you can download the games now. Now, unfortunately, for the PlayStation 3 games, you can only stream them because your PlayStation 4 itself doesn't have a PS3 emulator. It's not powerful enough to emulate PlayStation 3 games, and that makes sense. It's a little bit unfortunate because, again, the streaming quality is not the best. But I do have to say that if you guys are thinking of streaming games, and if you own both a PC and a PlayStation 4, do it on your PlayStation 4. For some reason, it's the app is more optimized on the PlayStation 4. So I've been playing, again, you know, games like Sonic 4 Episode 1 and 2, Sonic CD, and I am playing Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater on the PS3. So you know, I'm having a lot of fun just looking at the library of games. It's a huge library. I do have to say the streaming quality is not the best. I did try to stream a PlayStation 4 game. I think it was Grid 4, which is a racing game, like a rally racing game. It looks great. You know, the regular game looks great, but when I was streaming it, you can tell there's a lack of quality. Sometimes the image gets pixelated. So you can tell the service is kind of like struggling to keep up with the streaming. And I do have to say, I have a fairly good internet speed or connection. I have 100 megabytes per second download, 10 megabytes upload. It may not be the fastest, but it's not also the slowest. So even with those numbers, I'm getting a better streaming experience from other services like Google Stadia and GeForce Now. Those two services are just providing a better experience. Another thing that PlayStation Now, I have to do a little bit more research, but from what I understand is, for example, Control, it's a new game. It's available for you to download it for 180 days. That's the amount of time they give you to download the game. My understanding is that you can download the game, but once the 180 days are gone, you are not longer able to play the games. And there's a little bit of a, I guess, people going back and forth. I went to the subreddit for PlayStation Now, trying to get a concrete answer. Some people were able to play older games that are not available anymore on the service, but they have it downloaded on their systems. They're able to still play those, and some people are not able to. So I don't know if it's part of being a glitchy system. You guys let me know if you guys have experienced this. I guess I'll try to find out with games, but the moral of the story here is that PlayStation Now has a little bit more of a games coming out and coming in more abruptly type of problem, whereas Game Pass is a little bit more forefront. On the app, they tell you what games are about to come out. They warn you and they recommend you download those games, and those definitely you can keep. If you download it, you can keep playing them even though they're not available on Game Pass anymore, at least on my experience. So that's another kind of like plus one towards Game Pass. But again, you know, PlayStation Now, it's not a slouch either. You know, it's a pretty good service. There's still a lot of improvement to be made, and Sony, they're going to have to step up for the next generation, because Xbox One Series X, if I had to guess, it's going to be heavily involved with Game Pass, and Sony, they're lagging behind on that subscription streaming type of service that Microsoft is succeeding. And again, you know, the Game Pass, I don't know how Microsoft is doing it. I am For sure, they're losing money because there's no way. It's such a good value proposition, $15 a month for Game Pass. And for PlayStation now, kind of like the same thing. It's only $5 a month. Granted, the games are not as new, but they're improving. And again, this month of March, when they release Control, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Wolfenstein 2, it's a sign that they're improving. They're bringing more AAA games slowly but surely, and that's in my opinion, something to be excited about. One thing that it's a personal thing that really worked out for me. As you guys know, I have a new setup with a new TV there, and when I plugged in my PlayStation 3, I was testing all the system just to make sure it's working with the new TV, and I came out to find that my PlayStation 3 hit the bed. It's dead. The typical problem with the PlayStation 3s. My OG PlayStation 3 already had the yellow light of death problem. I'm pretty upset because this is a slim version that I only been using it for maybe 3 years, which is not a long time in my opinion. And I'm not playing the PS3 as much as I used to, obviously, because I have a PS4, I have an Xbox One, I have a Nintendo Switch. So my PS3, it's kind of like, every now and then type of deal for me. And I came out to find that my PS3 now it's dead, and I only have one backup PlayStation 3, which is downstairs. We use that as a Blu-ray player, and I have my PS3 collection. If you guys know, it's my biggest collection. You can't see it here because it's on this side, but I have over 200 games on my PlayStation 3 collection, physical games. And if I count the digital games, don't even, it's well over 200, probably over 300 games. So it worries me because the PlayStation 3 is such a quirky system. The PS4 is not backwards compatible, but through the magic of PlayStation Now, even though I cannot play my Metal Gear collection physical, Blu-ray disc that I have for the PlayStation 3, through PlayStation Now, I'm able to play that game via the streaming service. Obviously, I have to pay for it, but it's a good solution for a quirky type of system like the PlayStation 3, where again, if I only have one PS3 backup, it's downstairs, and it's a little bit upsetting on how the hardware kind of failed on me. It's expected, it's something that happens, with a video game hardware. It's bound to fail at one point or another, unless it's a Nintendo system. Those are made to last forever. They're kind of like the equivalent of Toyotas. If you own a car, Toyotas, you can drive them to hell, and they will still work. But yeah, that's kind of like the relief I have with the PS Now service. There are a lot of PlayStation 3 games out there. Unfortunately, not all of them. And unfortunately, obscure games, kind of like Folklore, for example, which is a fantastic RPG that was released early in the PS3 life cycle. For example, that game is not there. Africa, which is one of the rare games, collector's item, if you will, that game is not there. So obviously there are a ton of games, PS3 games, that are not in the service, but it is what it is. You cannot expect to have every single PS3 game out there. Hopefully Sony includes them in the service, and it is important to note also that they have a lot of PS2 classics on the service on PS Now. So that's pretty cool that you're kind of have that liberty of exploring the huge backlog of the PlayStation legacy. PS2, PS3, and PS4, and I'm sure when the PS5 comes out, Sony, they're gonna have to figure something out and provide a better service, a service that's a little bit more that's a little bit better in terms of the offerings and the first party releases, and just the overall quality of the streaming and the downloading service. A lot of improvements. Also, if you guys are trophy hunters, this is a great, medium to earn trophies. Like, even if you play on the PC, for example, whatever trophies you earn while playing a PlayStation game on the PC, they get backed up to the cloud or whatever it is. The save files, obviously, they do the same thing. You can play something on the PC and then on your PS4, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can do that, because I was doing that with Sonic 4 episode 1, which is a crappy game, but I digress. I have an impressions video on that separately. But That's it for now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Overall, PS Now, in my opinion, you get what you pay for, but it's not a bad option to explore the PlayStation library with over 800 games. So that's it for now. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all later.